Greetings, I'm Michael O'Connor, and this is Steve Marion, and thank you for joining us at the well. Steve, today we're going to be talking about a topic. It comes from actually a book from Matthew Kelly called 33 Days of Eucharistic Glory. I know you're reading this, and I am too. You can either get this in a podcast or else read the book itself. But one of the things that really stood out for both you and I was this whole thing about how do you always, well, I think St. John had said this actually one time. He said a phrase, pray consistently, constantly. How do you even do that? I know there's monks out there in the world that devote their whole lives to prayer, but that's not something that we can, I mean, we've got jobs we've got to go to, we got families we've got to bring up. But anyway, I'd like to read a little bit of that, where that phrase came from, read a couple of paragraphs from this book, and then I'd like to get your feedback on that, Steve, and then I'll give my my thoughts as well. So this is called the fourth shift: transform everything into prayer. Prayer is not an activity that encompasses a small portion of our days. It's a way of life. Prayer awakens our spiritual senses, and we become aware of God at our side throughout the day. Not that He is in our presence, but we are continually in His presence. The fourth seismic shift occurs when we discover that every activity can be transformed into prayer by offering it to God. And here's St. Paul. Pray constantly was St. Paul's invitation. And it's a beautiful spiritual principle. Learning to transform daily activities into prayer was one of the greatest spiritual lessons of my life, said Matthew Kelly. Over the next hour of your work for a friend who is sick, offer that task you are at least looking forward to God as a prayer for the person you know who is suffering most today. And do that task with great love, better than you have ever done it before. Offer each task, one at a time, to God as a prayer for a specific intention, and do so with love. Interesting. What do you take from that, Steve?
Well, what it meant for me was it was an opportunity to bring this spiritual peace that I feel when I'm at adoration, when I'm at church, when I'm meeting with my men's group on Saturday morning, to bring that level of peace to my everyday life. I feel great when I walk out of adoration, but when I get back into the pressures of daily life, pretty soon I'm back to the feeling rattled and stressed, and but yet it's unrealistic to physically pray as St. Paul had required that we do, or requested that we do. And this is an opportunity to combine the stressful everyday life of our secular lives and transform it into a prayer. So to take the same stressful things that I am performing on a daily basis at work and to offer that up kind of gave me that extra sense of peace that I've been searching for. So I'm not separating my daily secular life with my spiritual life, and kind of creating that into one. And while I definitely do not have it down to a science yet per se, I have been making that attempt, and I definitely feel the difference in my daily work.
That's great. Sometimes you feel, am I doing enough? You know, I'm going to adoration in church, but then I get into work and everything kind of goes away. But really, if you have it the first forethought of your head that I'm going to give this up as a prayer, my work as a prayer. And for those people who may not work, you know, picking up the kids from school, you know, anything in your life, making dinner when you don't feel like it, taking care of the sick, all that, you give it up as a prayer. And if you do that, it almost becomes your whole life becomes for the will of God in a way. And that doesn't mean you have to be in church 24/7 or you have to go to adoration 24/7, but it does mean that you're giving it up. You're giving it up for God. And it's a great way of looking at it too, because it really becomes almost less onerous, doesn't it? I mean, when you're really going through a real tough thing that maybe an operation you're going through, or sickness yourself going through, or maybe you're doing some tough work, and you're saying, okay, you know what? I'm giving this up as an offering. almost, and kind of lightens the load a little, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I'm a person that is A, analytical, and B, I like to compartmentalize things to keep it
Yeah.
organized. So instinctively, I separate my daily secular life from my spiritual life. When I'm at church, when I'm at adoration, I feel at peace. When I leave that, then I'm so focused on the tasks at hand that I kind of take God out of that portion of it, and kind of separate the two. And this is a great way of being able to bring my spirituality into every aspect of my life, as opposed to being, to segregating it, and you know
Yeah.
basic, yeah,
You're merging the two together, aren't
right.
you? And that's a beautiful
It
thing.
makes more sense with regards to St. Paul's request to pray constantly, because realistically that doesn't sound possible, and to be able to function in a on a daily basis and still be in the level of prayer that we envision that he was talking about. But to put your actions into prayer, and to make all of your actions be a prayer, it kind of, and as you do that, if you're offering that prayer up, I feel like God has given me the grace to look at it differently, and also be reminded more often throughout the day that I am doing that for God and He is there with me.
And giving you strength to get through that tough
Absolutely.
period, too.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us as well. Steve, thanks for your comments. Really appreciate it. Um, keep praying, keep listening. God bless.